and those diseases caused by suppressed childhood conditioning. Please let Cure Stress help you redefine you and your future.
Call 855-CURE-STRESS. That's 855-CURE-STRESS. Or go to CureStressDevice.com. That's CureStressDevice.com.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? It's officially overtime. Overtime with Lee Patterson, the only live local radio sports talk show in the Gila Valley. And now, here's your host for Overtime, Lee Patterson.
Hey, how are you? Welcome to Overtime. Thanks for the applause there in the background. How do you like the addition of the camel to the Overtime intro? Guess what day it is? And today, it's 9/11, 12 years later. Very somber day to reflect what's gone on in the last 12 years. And we asked on some of our station Facebook pages where you were 12 years ago, and where I was in my home in Safford, getting ready to come to work, turned on the TV, and all of a sudden that's what I saw. I caught it. I saw just as the first plane flew into the World Trade Center, and then the second, and then rushed to work here at the radio station to help get news on the air on all three of our stations here, and that was it was a very hectic day, and most of us watched the TV here in the studio just wide-eyed and mouths agape, just like wow, So it was. I can't believe it's been 12 years though. That's so those folks that were in middle school and grade school are now grown adults and did not ever know New York City with the World Trade Center. So. Very sobering day, but sobering day. I'm trying to mix the two words together: sobering day and somber day. But we're going to take some time and talk sports, and try to get you ready for a big week starting tomorrow of football. Tomorrow night, Thatcher and Safford face off in the annual crosstown rivalry game. That game will be live at Eastern Arizona College. It'll be right here on KATO. I forgot to play that, so I had to throw that in there. So as I said, Thatcher and Safford tomorrow night, 7 o'clock right here on KATO. Also, there will be a barbecue dinner at 5:30 starting there at Eastern Arizona College. It benefits the Thatcher Scholarship Fund for students and teachers. So if you want to eat before the game, you can. Everybody's welcome. 5:30 tomorrow at Eastern Arizona College's Mickelson Field, and anybody is welcome to come and eat. And I don't have the cost of the dinner with me. I know they had called in earlier today and asked us to get the word out, so I'm helping there. So the money will go towards the Thatcher Scholarship Fund. Also on Friday night, we'll be live at Pima High School as Pima takes on St. David. Both teams are undefeated coming into this one, and should be a really good matchup in Pima. We'll be there to broadcast that one live. And then homecoming is Saturday night at Eastern Arizona College as they celebrate their 125th year as a higher learning institution, and the Glendale Gauchos come to town on homecoming. Eastern will be trying to come off that devastating loss at Western on Saturday night. That was a low point for the season for sure, being down 35-0 at halftime. In the second half, though, they really played much better and actually won the second half 15-7, but it was a little too much or a little too late, and they lost 42-15. But as far as today's show, we will have both Dave Jefferies and Mike Alba on the show today, and we will be talking about the big matchup tomorrow night at Eastern Arizona College. But first, let's run through the rest of the schedule. A lot of teams playing on Thursday this week because of the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur. Most of the Maricopa County schools and the Pima County schools with bigger populations of Jewish folks are playing on Thursday night, but also San Carlos is at Tanca Verde on Thursday night. Obviously, Safford and Thatcher on Thursday night. And that's San Carlos, the only other area team playing on Thursday night. Games on Friday this week. Canyon State's at Benson. Duncan goes to Gilbert Christian. Holbrook travels to Wilcox. Bisbee is at Santa Cruz. St. John's at Morenci. That will be a good game up on the hill in Morenci. San Manuel at Tombstone. Florence is at Globe. As I mentioned, St. David is at Pima. We'll be there to carry that one live. Fort Thomas travels down to Elfrida to take on Valley Union. And that pretty much wraps up the schedule for around that Valley Union-Fort Thomas game will be pretty good. Fort Thomas is really good this year, and Valley Union is not as bad as their 0-2 record. I've seen now both their games, and they're just not as bad as that record indicates. We're going to take our first time out. When we come back, we'll hear from Thatcher head coach Dave Jefferies on the Valley Telecom hotline as we break down last week's win over Yuma Catholic and talk about the big game tomorrow night against Safford. Coming up next. Stay tuned.
Valley Telecom has something nobody else has, Community Channel 1. On Community Channel 1, we film local events and bring them right to your living room. From city council meetings, to Justice Court TV, to Salsa Fest, to Rex Allen Days. It's only available on Valley's digital TV. And this fall, we'll once again be bringing you live high school football every Friday night. Don't wait. Get Valley's digital TV with Community Channel 1 only from Valley Telecom Group. Call us at 800-421-5711 or go to vtc.net. Service is not available in all areas.
Hey football fans, it's Lee Patterson, and we've got a great weekend for you here on KATO. Starting Thursday night at 7, Thatcher and Safford live from Eastern Arizona College. Then Friday night we head out to Pima as the undefeated Rough Riders take on the undefeated St. David Tigers. And then Saturday night at 7, it's homecoming at Eastern Arizona College as they take on the Glendale Gauchos. And then Sunday, it's the Arizona Cardinals at home against the Detroit Lions. 4 great football games all weekend right here on KATO 1230 AM. And if you're not around your radio, tune into the local games on mysouthernaz.com.
McDonald's and sports. You may not realize it, but there's a strong bond. When you listen to or watch sports, eventually you get hungry. And when you get hungry, the thing to think about is the 20-piece Chicken McNugget special. Just $4.99 at McDonald's. 20 delicious Chicken McNuggets. Enough for the first half, the second half, or the 9th inning. Maybe the post-game interview as well. Chicken McNuggets. 20, just $4.99 at McDonald's, on the highway, and in Walmart. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Welcome back to Overtime, and now joining me live on the Valley Telecom hotline is Thatcher head coach Dave Jefferies. Coach, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule, man.
Thanks, Lee.
Hey, so you guys 2-0 on the season coming into tomorrow night's big game against the Safford Bulldogs. You guys just completed the cross-state trip to Yuma and pulled off what many think is a big upset, a 20-14 win over the top-ranked Yuma Catholic Shamrocks. How big of a signature win is that for you and your new program?
It's a big win, and as much as you want to say, hey, it's just another game, and it is, but at the same time, it was a big win for the program, for the kids. I was just really proud of how they stepped up and really, faced a team that was probably on paper a better team. And Coach Stallworth has only lost. That was his 10th loss he's had as the head coach of that program, which he's been running, I think, since '06. So that was big, and I was proud of our kids for taking care of that and finding a way to win that. And it was a real neat experience, and probably the biggest win I've been a part of as a coach. Not probably, it was the biggest win I've been a part of as a coach, whether as an assistant or a head coach. So it was a great win, and now it's time to, we had to enjoy it for a day, but then we had to immediately go to work and get ready for the Safford Bulldogs. So that's what we've been doing the last couple of days.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And it doesn't get any easier this week. I mean, last week you go across the state, 7-hour bus ride to take on the top-ranked team. Now you come back home and have a short week again. You play tomorrow night on Thursday night against a team that just might had their biggest win as under Mike Alba, an upset win of Morenci at home on last Friday night.
Right. I mean, Coach Alba, that was a really neat win for him. If my memory serves me correct, I believe he's a Morenci alumni.
He is.
So he's, for him that was huge. That was a great game for him. I was excited for their program winning that game. Them getting those two, they've started now with 2 wins, so already they're heading in the right direction compared to, record-wise where they were last year. And they look much improved on last year's team. And, we watched them on film. I was at the game, the Morenci game. and they look real good. They look sharp. They've got some explosive playmakers on offense, and they played a pretty solid defense, and we're looking forward to a good game.
Yeah, and it should be a great football game. It really should be, on paper, as good as last week's game it was. I don't know that you can top it, but you can definitely put it up in the same echelon of last week's game. And do you even show the guys last year's 51-7 win?
No, we hid that.
Yeah,
well, and the score on that one, once again, that kind of was just one of those that it got out of hand once it get going. It wasn't. Even last year, Safford was I know their record was 3-7, but they were a decent football team. And the tough thing is, kids don't really think that way. They just think, hey, 51-7, we got this thing made. So it's been a tough job as coaches this week, even though it's easy to get up for a game like this, a Safford, crosstown rival. It's tough when you've beat them the year before, because the kids kind of think, well, shoot, we're going to beat them again. And so, we as coaches know better, and we've tried to hammer it into our kids that it's a whole new year. This is not like, this is a whole other Safford Bulldog team. So hopefully we've done our job as coaches to prepare them, get them ready for that, get them ready for a big, it's going to be a knockdown drag out, I think. So I'm looking forward to a great football game, and we'll see how it all pans out. So.
This year, my biggest question for you, and I've talked to you about it and mentioned it before, was replacing your top three offensive playmakers from last year. Your starting quarterback, your starting wide receiver, and your starting tailback. And after watching you guys for the first time last Thursday night, I think Heath Moats fits well into the offense you're running.
Yeah, we've tried to adjust some things too to showcase what his abilities are. He's a very gifted athlete, and we moved him from a slot/running back type of guy to play our quarterback position. So we have adjusted some things offensively. Last year we liked to just drop back and then run the ball with Garrett. Well, last year we did that. This year we're trying to get the quarterback run the ball a little bit more. Heath does throw the ball really well, but he's not quite as experienced as Presley was. So with Heath, we're trying to run the ball a little bit with him, and some of our skill players this year were JV players last year. So we don't really have a lot of experience at the skill position on offense anyway. And so our receivers are great kids, but they're very inexperienced when it comes to varsity level of play. And so we got to get some confidence with them and get them the ball a little bit when it comes to throwing the ball. Run the ball between Heath and then Garrett Bryce. We're trying to just we're doing a lot of quarterback read, option game, and it went okay last week. It wasn't great, but defensively, I think is where we really pulled through last week.
Defensively, you guys, you're not going to have to score a lot of points if your defense plays like they did last week. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were really. It didn't help that UMA Catholic's receivers had hammers for hands, but you guys, when it came down to it, made the stops you needed to make, and that's the sign of a good defense.
Yeah, Coach Estrada did a great job of preparing them. He always does, and we hang our hat on being tough defensively. Offensively, I get creative and kind of cute with things, but ultimately, our team is defined by our defense. Caden Morris, when I think of defensive leader, I think of our middle linebacker, Caden Morris, who's going on his third year playing there, and we hang our hats on kids like that, offensive linemen and defensive front guys. Matter of fact, our captains this year are all offensive linemen. I mean, it's kind of a neat. I've never been on a team that has all captains as offensive linemen.
Well, and when that unit is that cohesive, it makes it for a nice, easy transition.
Yeah, and they've got experience at those spots, and we feel pretty good about our guys up in the trenches. So.
Now with Safford, as we mentioned, last year was a 51-7 win for you guys in your first year in the rivalry game. Coming into this one, you mentioned a much improved Safford team, and I did not see the Safford-Morenci game. You did. You said they looked pretty good. What's going to be the key to keeping them out of the end zone?
Well, just playing solid defense, sound defense. You're right. Last week we did get some breaks with some drop balls by UMA Catholic, and we can't expect that every Friday. Well, Thursday in this case, but other than that, we still, I got to give credit to our players. I mean, even though Yuma Catholic did hurt themselves with the drop balls, our kids really did step up and play solid defense. And we've got to do that against Safford because their offense is it's spread. They similar to ours. They run some quarterback read plays where they'll read a defensive end, and the defensive end crashes, they'll pull it and run with the quarterback. And they've between their number 7, number 5, 23, number 1, all those guys are pretty explosive players on their offense that we're keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, they've definitely got some playmakers on offense, and it should make up for a nice game. And here's the question that the fans want to know: Does this game make or break your season?
No, but we don't want to lose this game.
Right.
I mean, we got to live. They're in a different division than us, so it really. I mean, although with the way the power rankings are anymore, they have a way to rank every team regardless of division. So it does actually affect where you sit, whether you play a team that's in your division or not. From the standpoint of, we don't see them in the playoffs, so it's not like, but it does matter. Every game matters. In football, especially, we get one shot a week. I mean, some of the other sports, hey, you can pick yourself up after a loss and get in there the next day or maybe 2 days later and you can get another shot. Well, we get one shot a week, and so every game matters. Every game's important. Not to mention that this is the rival game. So, we've got to live with these guys. They live across town from us, and honestly, as seniors, the senior year is the only game that matters. I mean, my when I was in high school, I still, I was a part of a team that beat Rhett Stallworth's Yuma High team. So no matter what happens for the rest of my life, I always know as a senior, hey, we beat Yuma High. Cibola High beat Yuma High. So the kids obviously want to win for that reason, so that they can have bragging rights for their whole lives. But it is every game is big. Every win is important, and we're going to have to fight for our lives to get this one, and as well as any other team we face this year. I look at each game as an opportunity to prove ourselves who we are and get another win so that we can march our way through the season and end up where we want to end up in November.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking some time. That is head coach Dave Jefferies over at Thatcher High School. His team takes on the crosstown Safford Bulldogs Thursday night. And when we come back, we'll have Safford head coach Mike Alba joining us live.
McDonald's and sports. You may not realize it, but there's a strong bond. When you listen to or watch sports, eventually you get hungry. And when you get hungry, the thing to think about is the 20-piece Chicken McNugget special. Just $4.99 at McDonald's. 20 delicious Chicken McNuggets. Enough for the first half, the second half, or the ninth inning. Maybe the postgame interview as well. Chicken McNuggets. 20, just $4.99 at McDonald's, on the highway, and in Walmart. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Hey football fans, it's Lee Patterson, and we've got a great weekend for you here on KATO. Starting Thursday night at 7, Thatcher and Safford live from Eastern Arizona College. Then Friday night we head out to Pima as the undefeated Rough Riders take on the undefeated St. David Tigers. And then Saturday night at 7, it's homecoming at Eastern Arizona College as they take on the Glendale Gauchos. And then Sunday, it's the Arizona Cardinals at home against the Detroit Lions. 4 great football games all weekend right here on KATO 1230 AM. And if you're not around your radio, tune into the local games on MySouthernAZ.com.
Welcome back to Overtime. Again, our thanks to Dave Jefferies for joining us. And now joining us on the Valley Telecom hotline is Safford head coach Mike Alba. Coach, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking some time. I know you guys are busy because you both are teachers, but thanks for taking some time to join us today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, I didn't get a chance to see last week, and I haven't even talked to you since then, but congratulations on a big win against Morenci, man.
Oh, well, thank you. It's always nice to start the season 2-0.
It is nice, and talk a little bit about that game. I mean, I got updates. I was still in Yuma getting ready to cover the Eastern game. I got updates, and it sounded like Morenci took advantage of some special teams deals, but you guys were able to grind back and get the win.
Yeah, well, they started off with a kick return, which really kind of we knew they were going to come out with something early, and some lot of energy for not playing week 1. So we kind of knew, and we let the kids know that something might bad happened. So we responded really well offensively. We got to clean up our red zone offense, is where we got down there 3 times and had as well as our special teams, because we got down there 3 times and had 2 fumbles and a turnover on down. But we came back, we fought offense, we ran the ball really well against a tough rush defense, and then and defensively we played pretty good football. I see some softy stuff going on, but overall good football, and then just clean up special teams like you said, and that games I don't think as close as it would have been. Or it was.
And I think that's as much as a signature win that Thatcher was at Yuma Catholic Thursday night. I think that win for you guys is just as big.
It's a good one to start 2-0, because this is the first time as a head coach we started 2-0 here to get that kind of momentum rolling. But I don't know if it's as big as being a Yuma Catholic for the first public school, personally. I mean, I know I like to be Morenci because I'm an alumni from up there, but that's still a huge win from what Thatcher did this last weekend.
Well, and now it doesn't get any easier for either of you. I mean, now it's a quick turnaround week to a Thursday. I mean, you get one less day to prepare, but the big matchup is early in the season. Now, different divisions, and this is kind of the last preseason non-division type deal. I mean, after this week, you really have to hit the grind, but it's not going to be an easy one.
No, not at all. It's not one of those gimme games before we start our conference. So that's it. But the only good thing about it is it's going to give us a look at some of the teams we'll play. They run a lot of, we believe, like Amphi, Santa Rita, all of them run a spread look. So Walden Grove runs another one. So all of our conference opponents are all spread. So it gives us a great look to start out of conference. You get a look at a spread, a rush, more of a spread running team than a passing team. But that's most of the teams we see are what Thatcher does really well. So it's kind of a good prep for our conference play. And I mean, it's not any just average game. The rivalry here is huge. So.
Yeah, it's definitely big, and especially with it being on a Thursday night, there's not going to be any other games in town. So there's going to be a huge crowd tomorrow night.
Yes. Well, yes, it's going to be big, and we expect it to be a pretty good game. And that's just we got to come out and not have those mental errors that we had last week against Morenci. We expect it to be a good game.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen Thatcher until last week personally myself, and I was a little concerned how the offense was going to be this year without a Presley Moats type quarterback back there. But I don't know how much they drop off with Heath Moats back there.
No, well, they're two, I think, different quarterbacks. Again, I think he's still got a running back mentality playing quarterback. He wants to get downfield and go. And I'm not knocking he doesn't have the arm to do it, but he's just really good with the ball in his hand. So we expect we're going to have our hands full dealing with Beast on tomorrow.
Well, and you guys have a similar type offense, though. I mean, you guys will spread it out a little bit and run a read, and your quarterback will keep it, or you'll give it to your tailback. But you guys threw a little bit last week too.
Yes, we had a good throwing game. We threw for over 100. I think it was 109 yards. Tyler had a really good game for us, and Red had a couple drops that we were trying to clean up as well. But I mean, overall, had a great percentage. I think he went 7 for 15 with, I think we counted 2 drops. They were easy catches, should have been catches, and Jordan Davis really stepped up for us last week against Morenci.
Yeah, that's the name I kept seeing on my text updates was touchdown pass to Davis, touchdown pass to Davis. But he's one of those dangerous athletes. If he gets in space, he could take it to the house any time.
Yes, and that's what I mean. On his second touchdown, the long touchdown he had, it was. A couple of Morenci guys had angles. He's just. I mean, he's got speed. He's just God-given speed he has. Yeah,
he definitely does, and I think speed-wise, that is more speed than Thatcher might have Thursday night, and that's going to be, I think, a key matchup for you guys is to get the ball in his hands.
Yes, we would like to get him in there, but we really want to run the ball. That's our focus this week, is to run the ball.
Well, and that is what you guys can do. I mean, you guys have Safford, and I've been by to a couple of practice. You guys do have a big advantage up front. I think your line is definitely the bigger of the two, and I guess take advantage of it then. Well,
and that's what our goal is. We put a lot of burden on our line. We told them all week if we win the games because of them. So we told them they were going to deal with some tough, quick kids that get off the ball on the D-line, some Thatcher, some good linebackers. We see they had really good play in both their first 2 games. the linebacker play. So they have to really use their techniques and know that that's how we're going to stop the speed of their quickness up front. So that's what we've been putting on. We put a lot of onus on our own line this week.
Well, and on paper, just looking at everything, it looks like it's going to be a smash-mouth football game that may be a defensive struggle. Do you see anything that might change that?
No, well, just which style of offense kind of thing. Even though they're very similar, just which one because we're more of the zone blocking scheme. They're the pulling of the guard scheme. So the man blocking of the zone scheme takes off, and who has a better version of that against the defense is kind of what I think will be the tale of the game. Who's off line can kind of figure out who to block and get to, and then. But yes, I believe right now it's going to be a deep struggle.
Yeah, and that's those are exciting, and I don't know, as you know, coaching philosophy here. Last question before I let you go. Do you even bring up last year's bad loss to this year's team?
We talked about it, but we didn't bring it up like, oh, this is what we should fight for this. It's a new team, totally different mentality on this team compared to last year's team on our system, on how we block things, how we do things in the practice. So we brought it up. We showed that what Thatcher's capable of doing, and that's all we wanted them to see. It's not where they got to fight for this and it's a revenge factor. We wanted them just to see is, man, if you guys don't, you think you're better than them, or give them, or take it easy on them for 1 second, they'll do this to you. Is all we did. It wasn't a revenge like, well, we got to win because they did this to us last year. No, we didn't bring that up because it's a totally different team, a different mentality for us.
And I lied. I've got one more question before I let you go. I asked Coach Jefferies the same thing. Does this game make or break your season?
I don't believe it does. I think because yes, it's a rivalry game, but I don't believe it does because, really, even if we lose this game, we can still go 9-1 and be sitting pretty good in playoffs. So that's, and our conference schedule is still all ahead of us. So that's where, this game is meaningful to the local area, but for our division and our section, it's not as big as the community has seemed to make the game. We could both win state. That's in my thought process behind it.
Right. Well, Coach, I appreciate the time, man, and good luck tomorrow night. We'll see you.
All right, thank you, Lee. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. That is Safford head coach Mike Alba, as we are almost out of time here. Having two guests gets a little bit crowded on the program. Don't forget, Eastern Arizona College is at home Saturday night to take on the Glendale Gauchos in homecoming as the school celebrates 125 years in existence. And we'll have some fun facts of how long Eastern football has been playing as well on Saturday night, because it's getting up there as well. Eastern football's been around for a long time, and we'll talk about that on the game Saturday night. We'll even have maybe some special guests from the past that you have heard call Eastern Arizona College games, so we've got a lot of that set up and ready to go for you Saturday night. Also, the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a Cardinals fan, and I don't know. I like the new offense, and I like Carson Palmer, and I like Fitzgerald, but I just don't know if everybody's going to mesh. We need a new left tackle and a new kick returner. Javier Arenas said the joke on Twitter this week was Arenas Hispanic for cut me now, because he made a big mistake, and two big mistakes, fumbled one and cost a field position on another one, and left tackle Levi Brown gave up 3 sacks that really cost the Cardinals. And Coach Arians in the press conference said they're not looking for any replacements. So he's going to have to work with those guys and get them ready to go as well. Arizona Diamondbacks in action tonight, 7:10 first pitch in L.A. They lost the heartbreaker in extras last night, 5-3 on a home run in the bottom of the 11th inning, and they're going to have to win some games if they're going to expect to get into the postseason. I think their playoff hopes are in between slim and none right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks, as they just haven't won enough games. They needed to go 22-11 as of the end of August, and I don't think they're on track to do even close to that. So they're going to need some help in order to get in to the playoffs, but it is what it is. So don't forget, big weekend of football. We've got Thatcher and Safford Thursday night, Pima in St. David on Friday night, Eastern and Glendale Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon we've got the Arizona Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. Again, thanks to Coach Jefferies and Coach Alba for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow night live from Eastern Arizona.
Goodbye.
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 Bye-bye. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Signing off.
Come to bed now. Okay.
News, talk, weather, and sports, we've got it all right here on the #1 station for information in the Gila Valley. News Talk 1230 KATO Safford.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Representatives from the U.S. and Russia will get